In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the control board in a Speed Queen TC5 washing machine, but this is going to work for the TR3, the TR5, the TL3, and the TR7, or at least it should. It's pretty easy. So let's go over the situations that you could need to replace the control board. First, your machine could be beeping nonstop, and there's no way to actually cancel it. The lights on the machine could be flashing all on and all off, and then unable to operate unless you unplug it, wait for 30 seconds, and then restart it with only one load of clothes to run before it does this again. Next, another situation could be that it doesn't drain and spin despite all the other parts of the machine being in good, proper working order. And then the other possible mode here is that the wash, spin, and lid lock lights are flashing in sequence on and then off. There could be other reasons to replace the board as well, but those are the major ones. Check the description and comments for more updates, and also a link to buy the board online if you need it. Each model does have a different board, so I'll have notes for the specific ones. Good news here is the only tool you're going to need to repair this machine is a 5/16 screwdriver, or you could use a drill gun that has the equivalent socket on it. First, let's locate the two 5/16 screws at the very bottom of the washing machine, one on the left and then one on the right. Once you found them, remove them from the bottom of the machine. Again, you can use a screwdriver or a drill gun for faster speed if needed. Once you have both screws removed, you're going to need to pivot the front of the washing machine away from the washer. It should pivot at the bottom of the machine, and it will drop the door to allow you to move it away like what you see here. Once you have the front off and you're inside the washer, locate the main board, which is in the lower left corner of the machine. The board will be encased in a plastic housing. To remove the board from the unit, there will be one screw holding the metal housing in place. Remove this first screw with the 5/16, then lift the board assembly up and away to liberate it from the chassis. Once you have it out, there are going to be 3 additional screws that hold the plastic facade on the board cover. They need removed, and in this case, there are 2 on the front and 1 on the back of the cover. Once you have those screws off, remove the cover, and this exposes the main PCB. You can then begin to remove the wire packs from the board. In my case here with the TC5, each is a different size that is unique, so you don't have to be confused about how they map. Each is going to have a small tab that needs depressed while you pull them away from the assembly. I suggest having gloves on for this. Once you have the wire harnesses off, go ahead and pull the board away from the wire trunk. In the case of this video and board, the new assembly came pre-mounted on the metal housing, but the stickers looked very different on the old and new board, and in this case, you just need to install the new board. To install the new board, simply begin to attach the wire harnesses to the new board. They have a various number of pins on each of these harnesses, and make sure to match the correct ones up. Make sure they are securely placed in the board and are very snug with no loose connections between the wires and the harnesses. Next, note that the wire packs do have to be routed a specific way for all of them to install correctly on the board mounting bracket. Once the wires are all installed, you need to place the plastic cover on. There is a gap on the lower right side of the cover for the wires to go out to the main harness trunk. It will be oriented the same way like when you took it out of the machine in the first place. Ensure that all the wires from the harness get routed through this area, and you may have to reroute the wires on the board itself to get everything to line up. It is a very tight fit between the board and the case. In my situation, it did take a try or two to route them properly. Once you have everything installed and routed, you can then go ahead and install the 3 screws between the plastic and metal backing of the board to get the new assembly secured. Make sure to take all this very slow. From here, go ahead and make sure all the screws are installed on the cover. Then slot the metal tab into the washer chassis assembly that the metal board has. Then install the final screw on the chassis to the board assembly to lock the board in place. Once you have all this done, install the front door onto the washer. To do this, note these notches in the lip of the washing machine. This is looking upward into the top of the washer. There are metal clips on the front of the washer that will insert into these as you pivot the front of the washing machine into the chassis. It's going to rotate, allowing those clips to kind of lock into front. As you do this, note there are 2 pegs on the front that will seat in these holes, allowing it to be flush entirely. and everything should more or less kind of fit and lock into place. Once that's done, go ahead and make sure to reinstall the 5/16 screws, and you should be more or less done and ready to run the washing machine. When I did this installation, there was no guide or assembly instructions with the Speed Queen board that said anything about resetting the washer or running any sort of modes to get the board programmed. You could always run diagnostics on the new board to get everything reset if you want for further troubleshooting as well. I'm going to have a link to the diagnostic and testing video in case you want to do that, but otherwise everything should be ready. Go ahead and plug the machine back into power and get on your way with a good working washer. Again, check the links in the description for the board model numbers for this TC5 and the other units like a TR3 through 7. Have a great day.